All right, so we're diving into something pretty cool today.
Oh, yeah.
It's Matthew McConaughey's career, and specifically how he went from those
Yeah.
feel-good rom-coms to winning an Oscar.
Right.
It's such a fascinating transformation,
Absolutely.
and honestly, I'm
Yeah.
kind of obsessed with the whole saying no to millions part of it.
Right.
How does that even work?
Well, that's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's easy to kind of focus on the what, right? The rom-coms, the dramatic roles, the awards.
Yeah.
But the real intrigue is the how did all those no's become the catalyst for this McConaissance?
Exactly. That's what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the rom-com era.
Right.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. The Wedding Planner.
Of course. Yeah.
Those movies were
Sure.
practically a rite of passage.
Yeah.
But even back then, you could tell there were hints that he was looking for something more.
Absolutely.
Great book.
Yeah. If you look closely at his interviews from that time,
Mm.
he often talked about wanting to explore different genres
Right.
to challenge himself as an actor.
Yeah.
But Hollywood had him pegged.
Yeah.
He was the charming, goofy guy,
Yeah.
who could make you laugh and fall in love in under 2 hours.
Under 2 hours.
Right.
And it was working.
It was a formula,
Yeah.
and it was working.
Those movies were box office hits.
Oh, yeah.
So to walk away from that,
Right.
to intentionally disrupt that success, it takes a certain kind of confidence.
It's more than confidence.
Yeah.
It's like a deep understanding of self-worth.
Yeah.
He recognized that his value wasn't tied to those paychecks. He wasn't afraid to walk away from the familiar,
Right.
from what was expected of him,
Yeah.
to pursue something more aligned with his artistic vision.
And that's where the Texas reset comes in, right?
Yep.
He and Camila packed up,
Yep.
moved to a ranch,
To a ranch.
and it wasn't just a change of scenery.
Right.
It was a complete shift in mindset.
It was a period of intentional retreat.
Yeah.
They made a pact to only accept roles that truly resonated with him, roles that would challenge him, push him out of his comfort zone,
Yeah.
allow him to grow as an artist.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a smooth transition. There were those 2 years,
Yeah.
the wobbly years, as he called them,
Yeah.
where he wasn't sure what his next move would be.
It's so interesting because,
Yeah.
from the outside looking in,
Right.
it seemed like he had it all figured out. But even someone like Matthew McConaughey,
Right.
at the top of his game,
Yeah.
still experiences moments of doubt, of searching for purpose.
And that's what makes his story so relatable.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree.
It reminds us that success isn't always linear. There are detours, setbacks, moments where you question everything. But it's in those moments when you're forced to confront yourself that you often discover your true potential.
And those wobbly years seem to have been crucial in shaping his future choices.
Yeah.
When he turned down that action comedy script,
Right.
they kept up in the offer, right?
They did.
8 million, 10 million.
And all the way up to $14.5 million.
Oh,
Think about that.
seriously.
Seriously.
And he still said no.
Okay, now that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
What was going on in his head at that point?
Right?
I mean, to walk away from that kind of money,
Mm.
that's a pretty big statement.
It was a statement of defiance in a way.
Yeah.
He was drawing a line in the sand, telling Hollywood that he wasn't playing their game anymore.
Right.
He was no longer willing to be defined by the roles that they had created for him.
So he was basically saying, I'm worth more than your money.
Exactly.
Wow.
And by saying no, he actually increased his value.
Interesting.
He became a new novel idea, as he put it.
Someone who wasn't afraid to take risks,
Right.
to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
He became an enigma.
Yeah.
Hollywood loves an enigma.
Totally.
Yeah.
So in a way, those no's were the most powerful yes he could have given himself.
Precisely.
Right.
By stepping away from what was expected of him, he created space for something much greater to emerge.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the dramatic turnaround.
Okay.
The roles that would redefine his career and solidify his place as a serious actor.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fascinating how that period of saying no
Yeah.
paved the way for films like The Lincoln Lawyer, Killer Joe, and Mud. These were roles with grit,
Yeah.
complexity, and a darkness that we hadn't seen from him before.
And let's not forget Magic Mike.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about a departure from the rom-com persona.
We did that.
It showed a whole other side of his range.
Yeah.
His willingness to push boundaries and embrace the unexpected.
And it's interesting to consider the timing.
Yeah.
He turned down Magnum PI for $15 million in 2008. Yay. Right before this wave of dramatic roles started coming his way.
Yeah.
It's almost as if that one opened the floodgates.
It's like he was sending a message to the universe.
Right.
I'm ready for something different.
Totally.
Something more challenging.
Yeah.
And the universe responded.
And then, of course, there's Dallas Buyers Club.
Right.
The role that earned him the Oscar.
Yeah.
It's a powerful performance, both physically and emotionally transformative.
It really is.
He completely disappeared into the character.
It's hard to imagine anyone else in that role now.
Yeah.
It's like it was tailor-made for him.
Right.
But I wonder, would he have even been considered for that role if he hadn't gone through that period of reinvention?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's impossible to say for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to assume that his willingness to step outside of his comfort zone, to embrace those challenging roles, played a significant role in shaping how casting directors perceived him.
Yeah, he had proven that he was more than just a charming leading man. He was a serious actor, capable of depth and nuance.
And I think that's what resonated with audiences as well.
Wow.
They saw his commitment, his dedication to his craft, and they responded to it.
Because he was saying, this is the real me.
Right.
Take it or leave it. And people took it.
And in doing so, they challenged Hollywood's perception of what an actor can be.
Yeah.
It's as if he was saying, you can't put me in a box.
Right.
I'm going to define my own terms.
It's inspiring, really.
It is.
It makes you think about all the ways we limit ourselves.
Yeah.
The boxes we put ourselves in.
Absolutely.
What would happen if we dared to say no more often?
What if we questioned the expectations that are placed upon us? The roles that we've been assigned?
Right.
What if we embraced the unknown?
Yeah.
The unconventional.
It's a bit scary, isn't it?
It can be.
To step outside of the familiar.
Yeah.
The comfortable.
Right.
But it's also exhilarating.
It is. Yeah. It's about reclaiming our own narratives.
Right.
About becoming the authors of our own stories.
And it's not just about saying no to the things that we don't want.
Right.
It's also about saying yes.
Yeah.
To the things that light us up.
Exactly.
That ignite our passions.
It's about aligning our actions with our values, our aspirations. Yeah. It's about living a life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
And sometimes that requires a leap of faith.
It does.
A willingness to trust our intuition, to bet on ourselves, even when it feels risky.
But as McConaughey's story shows us, the rewards can be extraordinary.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of external success, but also in terms of personal growth and fulfillment.
So if we were to distill the McConaughey lesson into a single takeaway, what would it be? What's the one thing you hope listeners walk away with from this deep dive?
For me, it's the power of intentionality. McConaughey didn't just stumble into this new phase of his career.
Right.
He made deliberate choices. He set clear intentions.
Yeah.
And he took action to align his life with his vision.
And he wasn't afraid to say no to the things that didn't serve that vision.
Right.
Even if they came with a hefty price tag.
Exactly. He understood that true success isn't about chasing the next big paycheck or clinging to past glories.
Right.
It's about staying true to yourself, embracing your evolution, and having the courage to create a life that reflects your authentic self.
Yeah. You know, it's funny when you think about it, like those rom-coms, they were all about like finding yourself, finding love, finding happiness.
Right.
And in a way, McConaughey's like real life journey kind of mirrors that theme.
Totally. Like he was living out those themes, those early films on a much larger scale.
Right. And what's even more interesting is like how he managed to like turn that personal journey into a source of inspiration for others.
It is inspiring.
Because let's be honest. Not everyone can say no to millions of dollars.
Right.
Most of us don't have that luxury. But I think what we can all take away from his story is that courage to say no to the things that don't align with our values, our goals, our vision for ourselves.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that every no is a yes to something else.
Right.
It's about making conscious choices, even when those choices are difficult or unconventional.
It's about being the architect of your own life.
Yeah.
Not just letting things happen to you.
Right.
And that's empowering.
Absolutely.
To know that we have that power.
Yes.
To shape our own destinies.
That power comes from within.
Yeah.
It's about trusting your gut, believing in yourself, having the courage to pursue your dreams, even when others doubt you.
Because ultimately, success isn't about the money, the fame, the awards.
No.
It's about living a life that feels authentic and meaningful. It's about making a contribution, leaving a mark on the world that reflects who you truly are.
And sometimes that requires a radical shift in perspective, a willingness to let go of what's familiar and embrace the unknown.
Just like McConaughey did. He could have easily stayed in his rom-com lane, raking in the big bucks, but he chose to take a risk.
He did.
To bet on himself.
He bet on himself.
And in doing so, he not only reinvented his career, he inspired a whole generation of dreamers and doers.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the McConaissance, I think the question we should all be asking ourselves is, what's our Texas reset? What's the one thing we can say no to today that will create space for something truly extraordinary to emerge in our own lives?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
And I hope our listeners take some time to really reflect on that.
Me too.
Because as Matthew McConaughey's story so beautifully illustrates, sometimes the greatest adventures begin with a single courageous no.
Who knows? Maybe someday we'll be doing a deep dive into your incredible career transformation.
I love that. All right. Until next time. Keep diving deep.
Keep exploring.
Keep exploring and never be afraid to say no to the ordinary.
Yes.
In pursuit of the extraordinary.
Absolutely.